Good morning. How are you? So, I had some interesting reading this morning before I got going. I do some meditations in the morning, some journaling. So, I have a spark on a book. I think I'm at least going to try to get 10 blogs done in the next 2 weeks and see where that takes me. Because blogs, whether I post them or not, are a nice format to organize a book. So, if you haven't thought of that lately, that's my tip for the day. But that's not where I'm going today on some things for you to think about. So, I'm still assuming that most of you that listen to me are some sort of a small business entrepreneur. You are building your businesses online. You are looking for audiences. You are looking for ways to attract them to you, and so that you can show them the value that you can bring to their life. But I want to ask you a couple of questions this morning. What thoughts are you wearing that are getting in the way of you communicating? And I picked this particular format for talking about thoughts. You know, everybody always says change your thoughts, change your life, but sometimes we don't know that we're wearing the thought. So I read a mix of things every morning, and I was looking at some stuff on body language today, and it's fascinating as always. And they had some new perspectives, but in a way, she was saying you're wearing your thoughts. You're wearing your thoughts on your body. And if you're communicating those thoughts, then what are other people getting? And so you could be having great words, great conversation. Good morning. You could have great intentions, but somehow your thoughts are still showing in your body. Your self doubt is showing. Well, I'm saying this, but it hasn't worked for me yet. And so you're trying to follow a formula. You know, the thing that I feel really, really sells is our reels, reals, our reels, not our movies. It's like, yeah, for real. We just got to be for real. And sometimes it's okay to say, I think my ideas suck today. Or what is this old thought? Or, wow, do I need to reframe this? If I'm saying this in my head, am I wearing it on my body? And then what is that communicating to other people? So I get tickled when I see things. I'm one of those mishmash thinkers where I can read three articles and all of a sudden I have an idea. But actually, if the authors were to look at me, they'd go, how did you get there? Well, that's just how I work. I synthesize information in a unique way. But what it also allows me to do is it allows me to hear when people are talking to me what they're not saying. And I don't tell them what they're not saying. I just say, wow, I think there's something else in there that you're trying to get out. Do you even have an awareness that you might possibly want to listen to yourself again? So I go back and I ask a few questions. It's like, here's what I heard. What did you mean? So sometimes words and the body tell me as a mentor to say, let's go back, let's revisit that. Let's see, is this one of those thoughts that has actually become a barrier for you or a dam? And all we have to do is to revisit that thought, redress that thought, and then you have some new energy to find a new solution. So lots of times we have to change our thoughts in order to get into a more distinctive, discerning energy that allows us to move forward. So we don't need to discard everything that's been in our life and our experience, but there's a lot of experiences that we still allow to determine what decision we make today. And I work every day to say, well, does that thought, which was a decision I made some long time ago, does that still apply today? So every day I'm wading through a few of those situations where it's like, well, that thought worked yesterday, but does that thought work today? So I read an interesting book this week, and I keep talking about him, but it's Adam Grant wrote the book called Think Again. It's just out, it's on Audible. I highly recommend it to everybody. And he's talking in this book about how when we love what it is we think we know, we either become a preacher about it or we are a prosecutor about it, meaning if somebody doesn't agree with us, we're going to prosecute until they agree. Or we become a politician about it. We're going to persuade everybody over to our side. But he said sometimes the scientist is the better person at thinking because their curiosity levels, and I love to think of myself as curious. And so that's a thought I have to revisit every day, because if I get entrenched in an idea and I go, well, was I curious enough to sort out all the steps and the processes around that thought to see if that's going to give me the mileage that I need in my new adventure, my new business opportunity, my new offer to my mentors? What is it? So even when we have the word success, so I use successwithmarla.com as my way for you to get a hold of me and get onto my email list. But success varies for each of us on a daily basis also. So the thoughts that we want to revisit all the time are, well, this worked yesterday, will it work today? This worked for so-and-so. We don't want to ask, will it work for me? We want to say, what worked for them? What about that can I bring over into my life and try? And what about that won't work for me? So I'll give you an example. The other night I was listening to someone that I admire. They've done quite a bit of stuff. And they're younger, and age to me doesn't matter. I communicate with all age groups. In fact, I probably communicate sometimes less with my age group because some of them have decided that they're on the shelf. Now, I know they can get themselves off the shelf, and that's fine when they choose to do that. I have something to engage with. But because I'm staying active, I don't always have time to go play a game or sit down. And I like what I do. So I'm not discussing any of that. I'm just saying that it's a challenge sometimes to keep recreating purposes. But I digressed. Let me go back. So in taking a look at some of the things that we want to make choices about every day in our life, we have to look at our thoughts. What thoughts are we carrying over from yesterday? And do we put that thought back on? Do we leave it in the closet, or does it go to Goodwill, or does it go to the shred bin? So if we got a new idea and we see something is working for somebody else, we have to say, do I follow them 100% what they're doing or not? So back to my example. The other night, I'm in a meeting and this person is describing their vision for an educational platform they have. And I love this educational platform. I've met people I'd never meet in my lifetime. And if you want information on that, I can share it with you. And it's a great way for me to go out and to offer classes for free and to just build a new community of people, of like-minded people. But in this presentation, he was talking against some marketing processes in order to state that his process was the better process. So he was in that prosecutor role, not the scientific role. He was in the scientific role when he invented this whole new platform. But now he somehow switched a mindset that says, I need to defend this process. No, there's a lot of followers. There's over 7,000 followers of this. So there's no need to prosecute. There's no need to preach. There's no need to be a politician with this. What there is now is a need to not make those flat statements, because I'm not offended, but as a business person, I saw limited thinking. And when I see limited thinking, I want to go in and have a conversation, not to preach, not to prosecute, but to say, have we thought about it this way? Have we thought about it this way? Have we thought about it this way? So I think lots of times when we get excited about our visions and our dreams, and I work at this every day, and I have made that same mistake that person made. I've done it. I know I have. But I try to go to my scientist, which says, that's an interesting thought. Wonder why he got there. Must have had a bad experience. I'd love to ask him about that bad experience. I also would like to know that what he has is his mission now. I would like at some point to share with him that that was a discordant thought and action for him to take in that presentation, because it actually off-put a few of us. And when I say off-put, we're not angry. We're just sitting there in our personal communication space going, that was an awkward communication. That was an awkward communication. I wonder what was behind that thought. Wonder why he had to get defensive. Wonder why he had to prosecute. Wonder why. So now let's talk about what Adam Grant talks about also when he talks about all these needs to be a preacher, a prosecutor, or a politician. I think I fall into the preacher and politician mode fairly big sometimes. And so it's like, where are the adjustments? Where's the fine tuning? So I know that when I'm out here and I'm talking to you, my intention is to always throw out ideas, let you look at them. If they fit, you wear them. If not, they not. And every day I have a different thought. I don't come back in very often and repeat myself. I might have some themes out there, but my intention is to help people get clarity around their business, get clarity around their actions, get clarity around their thoughts. And sometimes before we can take action and make our intention work, we've got to check in with those thoughts. And if those thoughts are taking us down, then that's why you want an outside source. Someone like me can say, oh, do you even know you have that thought? Do you hear what you're saying? Is that serving you anymore? Is that serving you anymore? I'm not going to tell you it's wrong or it's right. I'm going to ask you, is it serving you anymore? Is it getting you traction? Is it moving you forward? Is it building your business? If you've got this thought and it is not building your business, then it's time to maybe say, I want to be a scientist. I want to go out and understand why I have that thought. And then let's look like if there's a new one to create, or maybe that thought still serves me because this is absolutely who I am. And always when you're a scientist, if you know your purpose, you're going to be able to come back in and always say, does that support my purpose? Does that support my purpose? Does that support my purpose? So I'd love to talk to you. I'm Marla Copal. You can get a hold of me at successwithmarla.com. In my post, there's some offers that I have for you that you can look at. And I'd love it if you followed me on YouTube. My channel is Marla Copal. Just look me up and subscribe. And these are all there for replays. And you can see how eclectic I share things every day. But I look forward to meeting you one of these days. And I invite you in to find your scientist and shred those thoughts that no longer serve you. Have a great day.